Association of the Lord Parish. My name is Father Rob Arsenault. It's Wednesday night and it's time for the Pastor's Chat. So just kind of reaching out. Kind of a quiet night. I think it's most of the guys are out actually. It's just Father John and I. And tonight, I think Father Josh is visiting family, and Father David had to go back into the cathedral. They're beginning their rite of Christian initiation for adults. This is quite a few. It's quite hopeful actually. I think they have I don't know if it's as many as 10, but they have quite a few people actually that are interested, and we have a couple as well. So this is also good. But just kind of a positive sign, when that's happening. So Father David's back in the cathedral. Father Joshua's away, was visiting some family, and I think I think Father John's gonna hold up for the night. So it's kind of quiet in the church. That's why I was just before I came on, I was kind of walking around and checking things out, and I check doors and stuff like that. So it's just it's good, but it hasn't always been this quiet. Today's been quite busy actually, and this week has been busy, and it has been a busy time. We had Net Ministries doing their training here the last 2 weeks, so they're finished now. So they're commissioning mass on Saturday, and then they're off to doing their various, probably starting their retreats this weekend actually. So they usually toss right into it, so that they don't get much time between training and when they start to go to work. So that's good news. So it's just nice, you had 17 young adults kind of around the building most days, and just that's always inspiring. So God bless them. Keep praying for Net Ministries and the work that they do, and their leadership too, because it's not easy. None of this is easy. And we've been doing some work, again with the diocese and with Catholic Christian Outreach, and it's just been a kind of a full time, not crazy. It feels a little better. The first couple of weeks, with trying to balance my responsibilities at the diocese and also here at the parish was just pretty full. I mean, that's pretty complete. So it feels a little better now. So, Angela, hello again. Good evening and welcome. Thanks for chiming in. So it's good. I was actually thinking, it's funny, hurricanes, just thinking about hurricanes. We have Hurricane Evo, I think, is just crushing and this Diane as well. God bless you, Diane. The kind of the west coast of Florida, and it's near a place, Florence or Venice. I'm sorry, Venice, I think, and that's a place I visited. There's a priest, Father Paul McAvoy. He was a priest from Kingston Diocese, and he and his mother would go down there for years and years and years. And later in life, after she had passed, she lived to be 103, I think. But he and I went down one time, and I stayed at a kind of hotel they always stayed at. And there's a famous beach there where they have shark's teeth, like fossilized shark's teeth. And I think most of that beach might be gone now. And it was right on the water. I can't imagine with a 20-foot surge there's be a lot of that left. It's kind of makes me sad. And of course, we're still kind of getting the news from Hurricane Fiona, which hit the East Coast, and again, having our guys out there, it kind of makes things a little more personal, and it missed most of that. It went kind of a bit north through Cape Breton, which of course I know quite well, and have people I knew from up there, and then on to Newfoundland, which seemed to get the worst of it. And when you hear someone from Newfoundland say, "This is the worst storm I've ever seen," like that's saying something, because they get some awful storms there. And it's so strange. I think I sometimes when the ice storm of '98, or some of the big snowstorms that we've got here, the ice storm is one that comes to mind. Like when you're in it, you are so in it. Like I remember going 7 days without power. I was in a little town called Spencerville, and I think the record in my parish was 18 days without power. I think it was 17 or 18 days. So when you're in it, you're in it. But my brother was down in Kingston, and I don't think he lost power. Like I said, the TV flickered, I think, during the football game kind of thing. It was just a very different experience for him. And that's how I feel this time. Like you see these hurricanes happening in places that I've been to. I know some people have real estate in Florida, and it makes me, you think of that. Like it puts there's an expression, skin in the game. Like these are, it's always should be about the people and feeling empathy, but when you've been there, and it makes it more real, and so it's not just a news story. It affects people that you're connected to. So let's continue to pray for people. Port Myers, I think in particular, got hard hit in Florida. People at Port Basque in Newfoundland, I think there's going to be a long recovery there. And there's such a tradition of living on the water, like all these little outports, and it's part of their life, right? And now the water surged up and really destroyed a good chunk of the town. So it's a hard thing. It's just such a hard thing. So anyway, let's pray for them. Parish continues to open up. I've been saying to people, it's kind of a funny thing. The good news is we're getting busy again. The bad news is we have to keep up with the busyness. Again, then CWL, then to Columbus, like these, things are coming back online. Music is starting up again in earnest. I think that's a good thing. Our mass changes. This is the big thing this weekend, and I'm really kind of curious. I'll be there at both masses. I was away last weekend. I think it's coming with this new responsibility. I think one weekend a month. I may not be in the parish, but I want to be there to see, like, because are people going to come to the 9? Are they going to go to the 11? So we're going to be able to keep that kind of the vitality of the 11. Would be strong from the same. I don't know. I really don't know, and that's the chance that we took. But again, the thinking being, remember I talked a bit about this last week, is we have now 2 masses that I think are viable options for Sunday morning, 9 and 11. And then to build up both of those cultures and have them, destination places for various reasons. I think bring kids, like it's just a more convenient time, and just kind of work with that. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's something that I know there's a long history here of times getting moved and this is and that. So I'm really kind of hoping this is a permanent change, that it won't be any different ones. But that we can just build from here. And I just think it's a necessary change that's been kind of hanging in the wings for quite a while, actually. So it's nice to have it done, and now we see kind of sort of hopefully the fruit of it, which will come in time, and just getting past that, almost like the moving the clocks, like you're kind of dreading it, and like, okay, let's get it done. A little sleep in or a little change of pace, and then we'll move on from there. So yeah, next thing coming up, they have 2 things. I think pretty soon is coming. I think most of you know Emily Milan. She's getting married on Saturday, 2:00 on Saturday, and Emily's been working here the last couple of years, and kind of looking forward to that too. It's a wedding I get to celebrate, and I mean, we have a number of this. I think Josh and Eliana, I think of their wedding earlier this year, and all the weddings I do, really, they're a delight. I really do enjoy them. When you know the couple a little better, it's easier to kind of enter in, because you don't always feel like it's just a celebrant, but you're actually kind of a participant as well. I think the other guys are joining me, which is kind of fun too. It'd be a first time I think all 3 of us have been at a wedding. I'm pretty sure that's the plan. So kind of looking forward to that. That's the big thing this Saturday, and then the mass changes on Sunday, and then next week we're into Thanksgiving already. Boom, bam. Probably take the mass down on the boat, and I think it comes out on the 17th. So coming up pretty soon. I think I asked Father Joshua to kind of help coordinate the Life Chain, which is this Sunday, and I believe it starts at 2. But we'll have a little more news about that. So Life Chain will be, as we've done it, on kind of the corner there at Montreal, and I think it's right on the corner there with the. It used to be the Alfa Romeo place, but it's where the graveyard is. Saint Laurent and Montreal. I believe that's the corner that we normally go to, and we've picked a date for the 40 Days for Life. And so what we want to do with that. Oh, I think I've lost. There we go. I'm back now. Sorry, I think I might have skipped out there for a little bit. So we're just talking about life issues. So the Life Chain, which will be on Saint Laurent and Montreal, and we'll do that this Sunday. I believe it's at 2. I should be careful about that. I know that I'm going to be just a touch late because I have a meeting that's going to run a bit late on Sunday afternoon. But and then we have 40 Days for Life. What we're going to do is post when the priests will be there. We're going to try to pick some times during the day that all 3 of us, possibly 4, but I think at least 3 of us, will be just there, just quietly pray the rosary and let people know that. And if they want to come down and be there at the same time, then that's great. But we'll give more information. That's going to be on the 14th of October. It's a Friday. It's a day that seemed to fit. Friday's our best schedule for us because between days off and my commitments at the diocese, and it just seems to be the best day to do that. So just keep that kind of in mind. You'll hear more about that, and I think Father Joshua will be kind of spearheading that and making that better known. I think in the next couple of weeks. So that's good news, and maybe continue on that. So we've talked about staff changes, I think, quite a bit, and I've kind of been dripping this and talking about it. I guess we unfold it during the summer, but just to go kind of recap. So most of you have met Laura O'Reilly, and she's taken over in faith and mission. So this is part of her work, and again, we've been talking about this forever, but it's this notion of being outward focused in the missionary role of the church. And this is what it is to be Christian, really. To be Catholic is to be missionary. And so we really have been working on this. And I think she just seems to be very, very gifted in this area. Has a really nice way with people. And I think that's always an important thing for me. So that's good news. So Laura came on board. And then beginning the youth programming again, Juliana Squares. Now, Juliana, most of you would know, she was here for a couple of years doing youth through Net Ministry. She'll be doing it not under the umbrella of Net, but as the independent sounds wrong, but in her own kind of experience in youth ministry, and be part-time. She also works part-time in the office, which is kind of nice too. She sort of spells off a little bit there as well, so she does a little bit of work for us that way. So that's kind of nice too. And if you've met her, you know her. She also does a little bit of hospitality, or has been doing that. And then we have Margot, who is taken over in the office, kind of doing the sort of day-to-day, like when most people after Mass is sort of a time when people like to book Masses, or, to check the phones and try to kind of connect with the emails. And Margot's, again, has just a really nice touch. She's been in the parish for a long time. And just, again, those people skills. This is sort of what we're looking for. Again, crackerjack administrators, great. But and again, don't kid yourself. Margot's really pretty good at this. But just to greet people and to make them known, and to be, that warm presence, that to steady, that's who's there, and connecting with them. But we've also connected now with somebody else. I was just working a little bit tonight with Ruth. Now, what is Ruth doing? Ruth is doing communications. If there's one, over the last couple of years, I think there's been legitimately, people, could we have done things better during COVID? Could we have done things differently? Well, of course. And I certainly would admit that. But one criticism that came in, and I think is legitimate, we have not communicated as well as we could. Now, here I am online, talking about stuff, and we do emails, and we really did try. But communication is a lot harder than it sounds. To be, what are we doing? Where are we going? Why are we doing it? Like, the why is so incredibly important. And we'd actually, when I first got here 4 years ago, we were looking at a full-time position as a person who does communications. This is a part-time position. It sort of connects in with a few other things. But Ruth is that person. It's almost like when we make decisions, how do we get those decisions out so people know about them? And Ruth's kind of that. Almost, I think, in a long time, almost in a way, I see it now sort of clearly. It's harder to see before. It's kind of a missing piece. I think in a way, Father Eve maybe was better at this than I am, or I'm not quite sure how that all worked. But see, I wasn't part of that dynamic. So, in some of our leadership teams and some of the work that we've been doing, we make good decisions, but not everyone knows about those decisions. And myself being, I can talk in homilies, and I like meeting with people one-on-one, but I'm not good at kind of thinking of all the people that need to know about this and trying to communicate it in a way that's clear and is cohesive and kind of works all together. And I think this is someone who can really help me in that area with the other priests as well, so that all of our messaging is consistent. Like, our forms and how you fill those things out. And what if you want a Mass said for somebody? What if you are considering getting married here? What if you want to approach the parish and have a child baptized? What if you want to know more information about our catechetical program, our teaching, or the Shepherd's, the Good Shepherd catechetical program? Like, if you want that kind of information, how do you get it? And this is kind of what Ruth's job would be, was building up that front that you would interact with in the parish. And that's all kinds of different forms. When the phone rings, who answers? When an email comes in, how does that respond? If you went to our webpage, does it have the latest information, and is it welcoming, and is it clear in what it's trying to do? And it's all those kinds of things that I think that make a difference. Again, if not so much for the people who go to church here now, the people who are looking to go, or are interested, or this is what the Gallic keeps telling us, that most people are going to check us out online before they ever come into the building. It's kind of interesting. Even someone just recently, this happened. They had known me through chaplaincy work, and so they just went online and says, okay, this parish, I heard about this parish. Oh, Father Rob. It just happens that we knew each other. It's not a big thing, really. But it's just the way the world works now. And it's not something that would be, 20 years ago or 10 years ago, you would think about necessarily in a parish. Like, what's our online presence? And how could we make that better? And how do we make that consistent? So it's an important role, and it's one that we could do better. And I think we have somebody who's quite gifted in that, and Ruth, and enthusiastic too. It's hard not to get caught up in that. So I just wanted to celebrate that. So that's 3 people that changed, because remember, when Emily gets married on Saturday, she'll be moving down to Kingston to start a new life there with David, her fiance. And so this is what mitigates all these things. So we're kind of moving away through that whole system. So it is exciting times. Like that's a lot. Like hire all these people, and you have to do contracts, and you meet with them, and it's delightful, but it's not, 4 people is a lot. And then we're still working on some projects. Like we did the doors, and we did the ramp and the carpeting. We're still looking at the some of the artwork in the sanctuary, and I've had a graphic artist and an interior design person looking at that, and so I'm going to have some pictures for you, hopefully by Advent. That's kind of the plan. And again, we haven't done anything, right? This is just the plan. It'll be digital, kind of, look at our church and how that all works. So that's good. And then we're looking at this question of moving the office, putting some windows in to make that more effective. And then the heating system, this is a really interesting. We have a chance to, 4 years ago, I wanted to change from electrical. I thought at the time, go to gas. Now it turns out, kind of glad I didn't do that. Gas has gotten quite a bit more expensive in the last year or two. But they're much, much more efficient units that we can get for the church to do heating. Basically heat pumps. And they go up in the wall. They're kind of like wall units. They go up about 20 feet off the ground. 4 or 5 of them. And we haven't done this. We're looking at this. We're trying to get, the proper approvals and get the budget done for it. But not only would they be units that would heat in the wintertime, but they would also effectively be air conditioning in the summertime. And the amount of energy we would save, is almost 50%. That's what we think. That's the early estimates. So 50% savings on our electrical bill over the winter. That's amazing. When you think about that, I think that's almost $80,000 a year we spend on heat for the building. So at $40,000, how long does it take to pay for a $100,000 upgrade? Really within four years, we'll probably pay for that, and we'll have air conditioning in the summer. And depending how we run the air conditioning, because it's not like a mall or like a condo unit where we have to kind of run it all the time, all the way through summer. We probably only run it when it's really hot, like those weekends when it gets really sticky. And it wouldn't just be for the church; it would be for the church and the offices and the atrium. That's pretty good. Now, again, it's not a decision that we've made, because you have to kind of figure out the budget. You have to figure out if it's possible. Right now, it's hard to get stuff. We're working with a general contractor. Is just amazing. It's been just such a really gift to us, and Luann's been really, again, spearheading all this. I would never have attempted this on my own. I just don't know enough about it. But Luann has a great competence in this area. So again, we're so gifted with these people that are so good to us. But wow, you think about that, to upgrade our heating system, save money, and potentially have air conditioning as well, probably for less money than what we're spending now. So again, it's never perfect, right? It's going to cost money to do this, but it just seems to me like it would be a very good thing to do after 40 years. Not that many heating systems have been around that long, and I don't really trust the ones we have. I think I'm going to get a little bit near the end of their life. So there it is. So lots of stuff going on. So I just want to check with some names here. So Joseph, good to have you checking in with us. Catherine as well. Diane again. Yeah, it is a lot. You're right. So Dan, it's funny when you came up earlier today, just how you're doing in the Maritimes. I'm assuming most of that hurricane stuff, you're in New Brunswick, so you're quite safe from it, but I'm sure you caught a little piece of it. So yeah, it's pretty scary stuff. And as I say, that's one of the people that we knew that was kind of down east and possibly connected to the storm. So it's a little spooky. Just to update you, the boys down there, they lost power. I think St. Benedict's has out of power for about basically for the weekend. They did all their masses just like we did after our storm here, without power. And this, you yell and you light candles and you just do it. And then as soon as it was over Sunday night, then the power came back on. I think almost immediately after mass was finished. So they're pretty much up and running. So there was really no, other than the power going out and some high winds, there was really, I don't think, any damage that I've heard of anyway, and specifically in Halifax, although I'm sure there was a few trees down. So they're fine. They're good. But again, let's continue to pray for people in Florida. Let's continue to pray for people in Newfoundland. And let's continue to pray for our own parish, again, as we continue to open. That invitation that I gave a couple weeks ago, to continue to not be afraid, to invite people back to church, and to think about stepping up and doing some ministry. I think, again, people have really taken me at my word. I know there's some people coming now. That's just great. And we're going to need readers. We're going to need Eucharistic ministers. We're going to need, almost all the masses are going to need a little bit of help. So it's all good. So Scott Milan, again, welcome back. I think good to hear you on as well. So it's all good. So consider that, when you're at Mass, and maybe just a little quiet prayer and say, Lord, okay, this is it. This is us. This is probably who we have. So I said to you, by the time we get to November, whatever you see in the building, that's what we have to kind of assume is the parish now. This idea of a big surge coming back, I think is, I don't know if it's unreal, or it may take over a long time. I'm not really sure. There's still people maybe waiting or thinking about it. But we're going to have to start moving forward under the assumption that this is basically it. This is what we got. So, okay, you're pretty good people. I'll go with that. But we're going to need some more help. And I think investing a little bit, each one of us, is good news. So there it is. So I'm going to end it up there. So yeah, hey, Father, here we go. So all good. Bless you all. Thanks for chiming in, all of you, and it does make it helps a bit, because I do this like every Wednesday, and sometimes I think it's like late night radio. Like, is anybody out there? Like, it's about a 20-minute monologue on my own. So it is nice when you guys all chime in. So I do thank you all for doing that, and bless you all. Yeah. So may the good Lord watch over, guide, and protect you. May the saints and angels intercede for you. May your Blessed Mother wrap you in the mantle of her peace, and may Almighty God bless you and keep you now. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.